I'm an uneducated guru. I did not study anywhere, nor with anybody. I'm not educated in scriptures or this or that. All I had was a huge experience within me. Somehow, wanting to share it, I started developing something to share. So when I started teaching initially, every class is different. I'll just teach it anyway. There is no particular way. There have been programs like this where there used to be 12 days at that time. 12 days, I spoke only motorcycles. See, because this could be imparted in any way, actually. There is any way. You give me anything through that, this could be imparted. It's not necessary it has to be done this way or that way. After all, it's just life. Heightening it. How you heighten it is not the point. That's why we said, yogaratova bhogarato. Somehow you get that. There have been programs where all the 12 days I spoke only butterflies or flowers or snakes or something. Something I took up, I used that as a means just to convey the message, bring the experience to people. I was going on like this, it was fine, but then, too many people gathered. So, when too many people gathered, the need to train other teachers came up. So once I had to train people, I knew the way I was teaching, there was no way to train anybody because it was too wild. So I started standardizing everything. It took a few years, about 4 or 5 years of work to standardize the programs. And then we started training teachers, and I also stuck to the standardization because otherwise there was confusion. So last few years, maybe 12, 15 years, I stuck to the standardization. In some ways, the standard programs are too much of a restriction on me. I'm not made to, function within certain lines. So we thought it's time to loosen that up, and for the first time we did this Vaibhav Shiva. Vaibhav Shiva was an attempt to teach yoga the way Shiva taught it. Shiva is not seen as a god in the yogic culture. Shiva is seen as the Adi Yogi or the first yogi, and the Adi Guru, the first guru of yoga. Shiva got enlightened and he became hugely ecstatic. Either he spent his eyes closed for many millennia or just danced like mad. He lived like this. Then all the gods and others felt, he is enjoying such ecstasy, but he is not bothering to share it with anybody. So they went and requested him. In a certain moment, he said, okay, what to do? And they said, you should become a part of the world, you're too far removed. So he decided to get married so that it brings him down to normal kind of life. So he married Sati. Because of certain extraneous situations, it so happened, Sati died a very tragic death. When she died, Shiva just carried her body in his hand and just in his arms and just walked. He was so despondent, he was not willing to listen to anybody. Her body started rotting and started falling in pieces. But he wouldn't put her body down. He held her body in his arms and just walked. Then Vishnu and others saw that his grief has gone too far. So they cut her body up into pieces. These different pieces of the body fell in different places, and those are the 54 Shakti sthals that still exist in India. Then once he got rid of this, He just became an ascetic and withdrew into the mountains. Most of the time he spent his time eyes closed. Once again they want to bring him back. So the story goes on. Sati reincarnated herself as Parvati, and people went and reminded him, she's come again for you. So once again he agreed to marry, but he kept her distance. He kept his distance from her. Only at certain times he lived as a grihastha or a family person. Rest of the time he withdrew as an ascetic.
For more on Sadhguru, visit www.ishafoundation.org.